Hello, I wanted to show you the collection I've been working on. First of all of these are passaways from old age or cannibalism. I keep my ghosts in colonies, so sometimes they end up interacting negatively, especially when the boys are being pushy. Also mismolts, if the mismolt isn't bad enough that it should just be fed to a tarantula, I'll euthanize that individual and use that. But yeah, so all of these pieces are either sheds or passed away individuals. I've tried to make the best out of some bad situations, such as losing super expensive, super finicky nymph species. Some nymphs just end up not molting their first molt and just kind of petering out instead. First example of that would be, we've got an orchid mantis baby right here. I ended up buying 10 orchids. And all of them did fine, and this one just never molted and ended up just passing away. So there is an orchid mantis, and instead of throwing it away, I ended up freezing it and putting it in. So I have an example of an L1, which means it just came out of the ooth. Also, you'll be hearing parakeets behind me. They get excited. Someone's talking, so they talk back. So we also have, these are two other species that were L1s that just passed away without ever molting into a larger form. So this is a ghost, which I have a lot of examples of here. This is the straight out of the egg baby of one of those. And then this here is a spiny flower mantis, which there's a couple adults of as well. So it's nice to have nice still examples of each species. But yeah, let's see if we can just get it stretched out first. Okay, so there you go, some L1s. We also have other nymphs at different ages that just didn't make it to adulthood. This was a male that his wing buds were getting nice and plump and he looked like he was going to molt, and then he just did not end up molting. This is one of my molds that is cloudy on the other side. If I paint it over with some extra resin, that cloudiness will clear up to being looking like this. So there are some tricks to the resin casting I've been learning slowly. Mix slowly and mix for a while when you put it together. Use a heat torch to pull the bubbles out. Add resin and then let it tacky up, and then put your insect in, and then add more resin later. Another nymph that passed away on me, unfortunately. It's going to catch all the light box lights. So that's a ghost, or that's a devil's flower. Ideobolica. That one was an unfortunate pass away, but I think it's one of my new favorite pieces as far as I put him in the freezer right away and then ended up getting him to a nice position. What else do we have here? This was a medium-sized nymph. Ended up passing away. Cool. Also, I have the Death Heads cockroach I've shown a few times. I really like using their pronotum. I have one of these on my keychain to see how durable it is. It's doing really well. It's a little bit of fingerprints on it, but I have a couple of those examples. There's one up above that you can't see as well. Beautiful cockroach species, super large, great feeder, and also they make this. It's amazing. The Halloween hissers, the main adults, I haven't been able to preserve their bodies without it getting waxy, but I also have the pronotums to there. There's two of them put together. Found in the colony. There's some nibbling on that one from some of the cleaner worms and this and that. Another mismolt. So this guy just molted and didn't dry right and was just crumpled like this, so I put him out of his misery, and instead of feeding him to the tarantulas, I thought he'd fit really well, so put him in there. Have an example of that. Right in the center here, this is a domino roach. I actually had a person I was buying them from send me a dead adult just to have to preserve while I was waiting for the nymphs to grow up. I have a couple videos on those. Some of my favorite pieces. This was one of my first complex pieces I did. Poured it in from the back, looked really nice, turned it over, and there's a couple giant bubbles that are bothering the heck out of me, but it is what it is. Resins like that. I have found, while tarantula molds don't keep their color, I tried doing some Metallica, Pokey Metallica. This isn't one of those, this is a GBB, but it should have a bluishness to it, and it just hasn't held any color. Here comes the parakeets. I did find that they hold their structure well. So I've got some please. Yeah, so there's that. But as for things that hold their color well, which the tarantulas don't do, the parrot's feathers do a great job. So there are a couple bubble problems with them. But I've got a couple examples where they've done really well. Looked really nice. So there's those. I've also just used pieces from cannibalisms or passaways that aren't good carcasses, but they still have like a piece. So I've been doing smaller gems with those. So it's been fun. Oh, there goes the parakeets. There's some wings. I have a really big, that big one I'll show you in a second, but there's some of the, just putting wings in. And, okay, and then for the big daddy, right here. So yeah, I just did this one. I was really excited about it. I'd been pressing these wings to flatten them for a while. I found this cannibalization that's just his whole front end was passed away, but they didn't touch his head and they didn't touch his body. So I put in a whole bunch of extra wings. So this is an outer and under part. I need to know all my entomology words for a male ghost wing. And then these are a female underpiece wing that was added. And then his wings are actually still here folded. But yeah, so I love that one. That one's really fun. I also froze this girl in a nice position. The color degrades a certain amount. And their eyes darken up a little bit. This one's been done for a while and I think her decay is finished. So this is about as good as they'll end up looking. I lose a lot of green. I'm hoping, so we can see how this one changes together. This one was in the freezer for a while, air drying. So I'm hoping she holds her green. I've had some good and bad experiences with that. Oh, and I wanted to try, because you have to trim them anyway at the end of the year, so I did some of the pitcher plants, Sarracenia. They're a pitcher that actually likes going dormant, so they like it up in the snow. Native to North America, very beautiful. I ended up having to fold this guy down a little bit. Yeah, so pitcher plant, super stoked on those. I did another one that I don't have here that's a bunch of them going in series, small to large, or large to small. Yeah. Okay, and it looks like there's a couple more I haven't shown you. I mean, there's a lot of these that I haven't shown you, but just some more to focus on. So these are 2 Wahlbergi I did. Passed away adults from old age. This one's older. It's holding. It's not turning brown as bad as some of them have. I got her right in the resin right after dying, so there's just nothing set in. This one has been in the freezer for quite some time. Got in the freezer right after she passed away and has been drying in there, and we'll see if she stays whiter, but I think she's going to darken up. So I did that one yesterday. Yeah, let's see what else we got here. I've done some skulls. There's some quail skulls. I need to do a more articulated one. This one stayed in the mealworms too long, got too cleaned out. And then I also have this, so here's a male Wahlbergi that passed away. Ended up starting to color up a little bit. The bubbles, so this first layer was super bubbly. And it's kind of a problem, but I've used it to my advantage. If it's a super elongated piece that's flat, the bubbles, if you put them under light or a black light, all the bubbles light up, so it actually lights them from behind like they have a background. So I've been able to figure out ways to not feel so bad about having not mixed that resin batch very well and not heat treated it very well. But yeah, it's taking your time. And then this is a fun one. Here, I'll end on this one. I tried the mold for this didn't hold up, so it's a 3-piece mold and it pretty much ripped on the way out. But I did a cannibalized female. Yeah. This was just her top end. I thought it fit perfectly in this gem, so here we go. It's fun. It's a super fun hobby. It's a good way to save all those extra pieces that feel a little wasted. Like I said, nymphs pass away and you don't want to just throw them out and can't feed everything to the tarantulas, so it ends up being a good way to, yeah, waste a little time. The ingredients aren't too expensive. There's a little tarantula carapace. You can see little eyes on the front there. Yeah, so a bunch of tarantula pieces. I actually did a tarantula piece that has, it's a female, and you can see the flap right here, so I can actually show how to sex a tarantula with this one. I'm excited for that one. It's not as clear as it could be. I'm waiting for some larger specimens, but I do love that the book lungs stayed white and really clear, so that's their breathing apparatus on the abdomen of a tarantula molt. So yeah, that's the female of my boyfriend's. That's Leviathan. So it's nice to have some pieces that you can steady up. And yeah. Okay, thanks for watching. Like I said, it's a fun hobby. Super fun pieces to do. If you have any other questions about the way to clear the resin or prep the specimens, like I said, I'm still experimenting. Some things are working, some aren't long term. So a lot of the whiter specimens are really hard to keep their color white. They like to turn. This is an example of one that I let it pass away in the cage and let it sit too long, and I ended up just leaving it in resin anyway to have that example. It looks great anyway. It's a spiny, but this color should be closer to the white. And like I said, this might darken up over time. It's nice to get a picture of what it's supposed to look like. Another devil's flower. So this one I didn't save it in quite as easy of a form, so I ended up putting it in a gem. Okay. Okay, thanks for watching. Awesome. Have a great one. Watch some other videos. Ask me questions about the critters. It's really fun to keep them, and it's really fun to talk about bugs. Thanks, guys.